Breaking news. Fighting games, intimacy, the most intimate. Look, I know you might not have heard that before. You might not have seen that before. You might not have gave fighting games any sort of respect. That's okay. I understand. You never wanted to try them. No one ever gave you the opportunity. Or you might have lost and just said, you know what, I'm good on that. And you know what, I don't blame you. However, I give you $1. Matter of fact, I bet you $1 that by the end of this video, you will at least see what I mean by a little bit. Put it in the comment section. I guarantee that. Listen, you see how close I am to this mic? That is how intimate fighting games are. Oh, you don't believe me? Shit, let me show you. First thing first, fighting games always start with a 1v1. There is rarely a teammate available. It is me and the other person fighting each other, and that's it. The way you approach the game is different. When I'm playing Call of Duty, right? When I pick up the controller, I know that there's gonna be other people on my team. So some of the responsibility is not on me, it's on the team to get the dub. When it's a fighting game in Street Fighter or Tekken, there is no team. It's just me, so I only have me to depend on. That's a different feeling. Let me put it like this. When you're having sex with one person, you're going to be looking at that very differently than if you're having sex with multiple people in the same room, or if you and a group of people are having sex with each other. So the approach to the way you actually interact with somebody is in a different sort of thought process. Multiplayer gaming is very similar to that. Going back off of that, fighting games, they have a way of making every single decision that you make have a direct effect, whether that's positive or whether that's negative. So when I'm playing Call of Duty, if I'm playing in a team setup, sometimes I'm like, hey, I thought my teammate was going to cover me here, or I didn't see the other person behind me because I was focused on doing this, or I couldn't see them because my teammate was shooting and I couldn't hear. There's none of that. When it's a fighting game, if I'm playing Tekken, if I press the square button and Jin does a punch, guess what? That was my choice and my choice alone. And whatever happens after that, whether I hit them, they sidestep me, I get punished for that, that's my choice. Fighting games are the only games that offer a direct translation to your action based on what you do and what you do alone. This is one of the biggest keys of this whole genre, but as a player, you and your opponent are both actively thinking about each other in the deepest ways. How you move, how you act, how you think in the game, outside the game, and the sole purpose of them understanding you down to their basic elements, your basic elements, is to win and to beat your opponent. And speaking of your opponent, they are trying to do the exact same thing to you. Every single tool that you have, your combos, your punishes, your movement, your reads, everything that you do is toward that one goal. Imagine when you and another person are in a discussion or a debate or an argument and you want to win. You're going to start analyzing their position. You're going to start thinking about how they talk, what they say, how they say it. You're going to start thinking about their point versus your point. You're going to even just thinking about their emotions, what might get them triggered or fired up. You're going to use anything that you can to try to achieve your goal of winning that argument. Fighting games are a very similar situation because let's assume that the fighting game you're playing, that match, that's the argument. And you both are trying to prove your point by proving which one of you is better. You are both going to then use the tools in your arsenal, which is the mechanics I was talking about earlier, to try to prove your point by winning the match. To put it in sexual terms, to connect the whole dots, when you are with a partner, you're going to think about what they like, what they don't like. You're going to try to do things that are going to get you to the goal of getting them excited and ready to continue on. I'm going to make this PG because I don't know who was listening to this video. But continuing on, you're going to do the things that they like. That way you all can get closer to the goal of giving them pleasure and not focus on things that you don't like. And in order to do that, you need to be aware of the other person. So now instead of trying to beat the other person and destroy them, you're trying to heal them and provide them with release and relief. Look at a fighting game. When you start it, the first thing that you're always going to see is the character select screen. Now, why is that? Because that's the most important thing in the actual game. More than the gameplay, more than the music, more than the players playing it. Why do I say that? Because all of that, all the players, all the combos, all the community, everything ties back into that character because that's what you're physically interacting with. When I pick Goku in Dragon Ball FighterZ, one, I'm a big fan of Goku and Dragon Ball, so I'm already coming to the game with a lot of memories, a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions. And then, when I'm actually learning how to play the game, I'm not pressing down medium, up medium, into quarter circle forward, right? I'm just seeing Goku do these moves, and I'm actually doing the moves as Goku. So, all those memories and feelings I had before I played the game, plus all the time I put in playing Goku in the game, they start blending together to when now I'm building trust, I'm building a bond, I'm building new memories with Goku that now spawn from the fighting game itself, which then build into the intimacy that I was referring to earlier, because all those learning how to fight the opponent and then learning how that can fall into every single one of those examples that I've listed earlier start having a character attached to them, and now it's not just an abstract concept of trying to win or trying to prove myself. I know that with Corona and with online gaming, a lot of people don't play locally anymore. Local has shifted to online. That's fine. I'm not here demonizing that. However, if you can look back and remember, arcades are where fighting games started. And in an arcade, I'm going to tell you now from firsthand, it is a very, very different experience. Mainly because now you are actually standing next to a person or sitting next to a person. And that's somebody from a completely different walk of life from you, or a same walk of life from you. It could be your friend. It could be a stranger. You could walk up to somebody playing and be like, yo, I want to play. They could say yes. They could say no. And when you guys start playing, if you start playing, you have no clue how they're going to play. You don't know if they're good. You don't know if they're bad. You don't know if they're holding back. You don't know if y'all going to keep playing. But it's an exciting thing in the air because your auras are connecting. You guys are vibing. Because even if you don't know each other, back to what I was saying earlier, you both are playing the game. You are both trying to prove yourself. And you guys have known nothing about each other. But now you are both going for the same goal to win. Even if you both are not at the same skill level, you're going to do whatever you can to do what you need to do to win. And when the person is right there and you can hear the breathing, you can hear you can see their hands moving. Just the whole everything coming together, and you're just there in the moment, present and live. If you haven't experienced that, I want you to go to any arcade when it opens up, when the world opens up, I should say, and try it. You will not be disappointed. The one thing I can agree with everyone is that most people don't play fighting games. It's pretty obvious to say that. However, with that being said, for the people who do want to play, the skill gap that is required, or at least is present in fighting games right now, makes the community very small, and it only gets smaller the better you get. With that small community, it makes it feel like a special group that only a select few can get into, and only a select few can be a part of, because not everyone is built to be a fighting game player, and not everyone is able to get that far. But you, my dear friend, were. And you, my dear friend, are the only person around who can be a fighting game player. And that pride right there, that ability, that talent that you have, that not a lot of other people share, and only a select few can even stand with you in that field, that will fuel you, that will push you, that will keep you in the community long past your actual playing, because the titles and the rank that is given to being a good fighting game player in this community will stick around a lot longer than you as a player. We all talk about the end and the destination, yet how quick we are to forget about the journey and how important that is. Because without that, we would never make it to our destination. Fighting games are no exception, and in my personal opinion, I feel that the journey is more important than the destination, because honestly, we don't have a destination. We are always trying to play our best and be the best and in some shape or form win. And that's an endless goal that will never be satisfied or never be met. So the destination, it's not really important. The journey, however, of getting there, that is where the key lies. Because when you start, you are a player that doesn't know anything. You barely know what a player is, but you have an interest, and it starts there. And then you learn how to play it little by little. Somebody might teach you, you might learn from experience, you might watch a video, and then you start incorporating that into what to do. And then you go into training mode and you start discovering more about the game on your own, whether it's through tutorials, guides, or just simply playing the game. And as you see yourself get better, and as you see yourself making progress, it makes you want to play more. That fire gets lit. And then once that fire is lit, you want to start going to tournaments. You want to start seeing, how good am I? You really want to answer that question. And then at those tournaments, it might be a local, and then you might graduate to going to majors. And then at those locals or majors, you might run into some of those players that you see on stream. So then you feel even more connected. Because as I said earlier, this community is small. And even any other person that plays the game that you play, any fighting game, you're going to feel a special bond with. Because now you know how hard it is to play this game, even at the most basic level. And you give those other players respect at some level. Even if you don't like them at all, you cannot fucking stand them. They are playing the same game you are. And at some level, that's worth something. So all this snowballs, and if you ever take the time to look back, you won't even be able to recognize who you are now to who you are then. And that's the point. This journey is so transformative and so life-changing that you won't even be able to understand all the changes that have happened to you until you start to look back. And that right there is the beauty of a fighting game. However, I gotta admit, just like trying to get to anything in the top level, it's time consuming, it's difficult, it might break you, you might have to sacrifice more than you're willing to, and it might be something that you weren't prepared for. But if you really want this, then these are some of the choices you're going to have to make. And when you make those choices, you will definitely build a bond with yourself and anything else connected to it, because you understand what you're sacrificing in the place of gaining what you just earned. There you are. See you. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. Like I always say, you don't have to be here, but you choose to be here, and honestly, that's the most important. Like I said earlier in this video, a lot of people don't give fighting games credit, and there's a lot of reasons for that. I covered a few of them throughout this whole video, which you probably already seen by now if you got this far, but I just wanted to give my opinion on this topic, because honestly, I feel like a lot of people haven't given fighting games a chance rather to see them in this sort of light, and they haven't given them enough respect to at least see, like, okay, this is kind of something a little different, or okay, I can kind of see the relationship. Fighting games, at the end of the day, they're just a relationship between the players. But like I said, I've already talked to death about that in this video. I do want to ask y'all one thing though, maybe two. First things first, do you have any fighting game memories? Character, a moment, a match, whatever. Let me know in the comment section below. Let's see what we can find. And number two, I don't know how to say this, but you remember that dollar I bet y'all at the beginning? How many of y'all won that bet? I just want to know. I just want to keep a tally. I just want to see if I'm doing something right or if I can improve. You know what I mean? Just let me know. 1 like equals $1.